words, Mainihu, what is like a shlomim, similar to the shlomim? That if you didn't have the derivation, you're learning off all the offerings, as we've stated regarding the Brisa. Mainihu, bechol. The bechol is like the shlomim. The nechol shnei yomim v'layla echad, it's eaten for 2 days and 1 night, like the shlomim. So if there wasn't a special derivation to derive all the offerings, we wouldn't derive the bechol. We would only derive the bechol, that it's like the shlomim. Now the question is, b'mayate, in which derivation would the bechol be similar to the shlomim? If you say b'mamatzinu, you would derive it through b'mamatzinu from the shlomim, just like by the shlomim that it's eaten for 2 days and 1 night, and has a din of pigul. You can say also by the bechol that it has a din of pigul. Ikle mifrach is to ask mali shlomim, or the shlomim she'tehin teunin smicha, requires smicha on the offering, and in Zvachim the libations, and truvas chazav hashuk, and the waving the chazav hashuk, the breast and thigh. With the kohen, he does it. Footnotes, if you want to understand this, footnote 2021 on 44a3 to understand that. But the bechol, it's not all these laws. Maybe you won't say that pigul applies the liability for having intent to consume it beyond its time. Ella, rather, we'll learn that bechol being pigul, stated by shlomim, if it shall be eaten. I'm quoting the pasuk, even though it's not quoting the Gemaras. Person must have a sin, since ha'achal v'yachel is a general principle. All the offerings that a person had intent to eat it beyond its time, and the word shlomav is a detail. Therefore, the Chachamim expounded and explained this verse as a klal prat uchlal, general principle, a detail, and then a general principle. Kova prat dor nechol shnei yomim, just like the detail is something which is eaten for 2 days and 1 night, v'layla echad, so too an offering that is eaten for 2 days and 1 night has a din of pigul, and that is the bechol. Gemara asks, Hanei terei klolei dismichi adode ninhu, but in this pasuk you have 2 general principles, 2 klolim that were stated in juxtaposition, one next to the other, and the detail is not written between them, but rather after them. So how can you expound this in this klal prat uchlal? Where answers are marava, even in this case you can darshan klal prat uchlal k'de amrei b'marava, as they stated as so kol makom shatamotze shnei klalot asmuchim ze lozeh. Anywhere where you find 2 general principles that are next to one another, juxtaposed, and the details written right after them, we find this pasuk hatel prat beinehem, put the detail between them, v'duneim bichlal prat uchlal, and then learn them expound them as a general principle, detail in between, and then a general principle, as if it has been written in that manner, or klal prat uchlal. Okay. So to here, you'll say B'sar Zevach Shlomav, the meat of the Zevach Shlomav, between the general principles of Yachol and then Yachel, and to learn from it Klal Prat Uchlal. And you can include only the Bechor, and therefore you need other limudim, derivations, to teach pigul by other kodshim. Jani Marbe Log, the Brisa stated, Jani Merabe Log Shemin Shematzera, until I include the log, measure of oil of tzorah. Hamani, who's this Brisa? According to whom, to which view, which rabbi? This Brisa that's includes log shemen, the volume of log shemen of the Mitzorah, and teaches that for the din of pigul, the law of pigul, liability of pigul for intent beyond its time. Whose view is it? Rabbi Meir. It's like a view of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir, the Tanya, it was taught in a brisa, log shemen shel Mitzorah, the log of oil of the Mitzorah, the leper, where it came together with the guilt offering, the asham. Chayavin alav mishum pigul. There is liability for pigul. If he had a thought of pigul intent whilst he was doing the avoda of the asham, the guilt offering, then the shemen, the log shemen, the oil also becomes pigul. Divir Rabbi Meir. This is according to Rabbi Meir. According to him, even the Mitzorah can bring the log shemen until 10 days at the time he brings the asham. Nevertheless, since he brought it together with the asham, it's the permitter to put the behoinas on the behoinas and also to eat the shirayim. The Gemara asks, if so, the Brisa is like Rabbi Meir, Ema Seifa, say what the Seifa, the latter part of the Brisa states, Moitzi Anim, Chazan Zvachim, Adam, Asam Narbanan. So I'll take out the liability of pigul from Minchas Zvachim, the mincha, flour from the Zvachim, the libation, Adam, and the blood. And that comes out according to Rabbanan. It disagrees with Rabbi Meir, who hold that there's no pigul by the mincha of Nisachim, as we learned in our Mishnah. The Tanya Niske Behima, and the libations of an animal, there is liability for them, of karet, obviously, Mishum pigul b'mishadam hazevach matiran, because the blood of the offering permits them, the Nisachim, the libations, to be offered on the altar. The Chacham said to him, maybe a person brings et Zvachim Hayom today, is offering today, ben Nesachin, and then Nesachin Adaf Hayomi from now until 10 days. And therefore, you're not obliged to say, you are obliged to say that the offering does not permit the libations. So why is there pigul? Rabbi Meir said to them, I didn't say that pigul will take effect upon Nesachim, upon libations. Ella beboyin yachad mezevach, only libations that come together with the offering, and then the blood of the zevach permits the Nesachim libations for the altar, and it's considered that it has a matir. But if he brought it zevach afterwards, there's no if he brought the libation after the offering and not simultaneously at the same time with it, then there's no pigul taking effect upon the nesachim, the libations. Okay, so this is what Rabbi Meir answered them, and therefore it's found that you can say that it's impossible to say this brisa is like Rabbi Meir. There was a question, who is the author of this brisa that we just quoted before? Amar Rav Yosef, said Rav Yosef, this brisa is all according to the view of the rabbis, Chomim. Since you can bring the offering today and the nesachim after some time, therefore, if he brought them the same day, then the offering does not make pigul, the nesachim pigul, the libations, libation pigul, and also the log shemen of the Mitzorah, the log of oil of the Mitzorah, also the zevach, the offering, doesn't make it pigul, and that which we learned in the brisa, there's a din pigul, law of pigul regarding the log shemen, the oil of the Mitzorah. It's not that it becomes pigul by means of the offering. Hamani, this brisa is according to who? Amar Yosef Hamani, Rabbi, the view of Rabbi. The Amar log shemen shel Mitzorah, the oil of the tzera of log measure, matnosav, matnotav sha'olei, the gifts that are sprinkled from the oil inside the heichal. These are what permitted from the prohibition of me'ilah. And since its applications are what permit it, you can say matnotav mifaglile. Also, the matanas, the applications will create pigul. What does that mean? If at the time of the sprinkling of the oil, the kohen thought that the remains of the oil will be consumed beyond its time, which is day and night, this is pigul. He's made pigul the shemen. And even though it's the Bryce states that there's a pigul by the shemen, the kavana is in the manner where he thought machshas pigul at the time of the sprinkling of the shemen. The view is Rabbi, as is the view of Rabbi. Tanya log shemesh mitzer melin ba'achi Israel hadam. The me'ilah of the log shemen is when he sprinkles the blood. Okay. Nizrak adam lo ne'enin, but it's, you're not allowed to. Let me just say this in English. Say this in English. So he says it on scroll. Log shemen shemetzorah. So metzorah is log of oil. One commits me'ilah by benefiting from it, until the kohen throws the blood of the mitzvah's asham offering. Once the blood is thrown, one may still not derive benefit from the oil, but does not commit meal if he does derive benefit from it. Rabbi says, one commits me'ilah by benefiting from it until the kohen performs its 7 applications towards the Holy of Holies, Kodesh Kodashim. Veshavin, but they, the Tanakam and Rabbi agree, also that the oil is forbidden for consumption. So the Kohen performs the 7 applications towards the Holy of Holies and the applications on the Mitzvah's thumbs. See that in the footnotes. It's on 44a4, second column. It said over Rav Yosef, explanation for Rabbi Yirmiyah, Omar Gavra Rav Yosef Leimakiyam Milsa. A person who's great, so Yosef said such a thing. Can anybody say that according to Rabbi Pigul, didn't entering the sprinkled oil affects Pigul in the log? I have less time, so that's why I'm doing it from the art scroll. Eventually I have to stop. Log shemen, log babifnei atzmo, but consider the case of mitzvah's log of oil is bought separately, 44b1. Arilog babifnei atzmo, 44b1. The log shemen of mitzvah that comes before itself, it doesn't come together with the asham, with this guilt offering. The choyalma, according to everyone, in this manner, everyone agrees. The matonas, the applications of the oil, of the sprinkling, they permit the remnant for eating, the meat that remains for eating. And nevertheless, they don't create the pigul transgression. The Tanya, like Shem Mitzvah, there's like Shem Mitzvah, Pigul, there's liability on Pigul, of Pigul, Dam, Matiro, because the blood permits it, Lebehonot, to be for the Behonot of Mitzvah. Say this correctly. Okay, So, because the throwing of the blood of the Asham offering permits the oil for application to the thumbs. Okay, as we've explained before. Footnote 2, thus the blood is the matter of the oil. Okay. It therefore seems unusual that the Brisa considers Asham blood the matter for the oil on the basis of permitting to the thumbs. Okay, let's carry on. Rabbi Meir. So again, the Tanya log shemen shematzera, the log shemen of the matzera, the oils of matzera. Chayovin not mishum pigul. There's liability of pigul. Ifnei shedam matiroi, the blood permits of the ashram, the guilt offering permits it. Matiroi lebehonos, to be put on the thumbs of the matzera, of the leper. Rabbi Meir Amar lo said to him. The rabbi said to Rabbi Meir, Adam maybe a person who matzera brings. Permits to bring his asham or achshav, his asham now, velog mikan Adaf Hayomi, and the log shemen he can bring from now until 10 days. So in this manner, certainly the asham doesn't permit the blood of the asham, the guilt offering doesn't permit the oil. And there's no liability of pickle. So we must say also in this manner, where the oil was brought together with the asham, it's all considered the mushroom as matir for pigul. Isn't a permitter for the dinner pigul. I didn't say that pigul is applicable. In I said be'ofen, in the manner that it comes together with the oil comes with the asham. So from this Brisa we understand there's no liability of pigul like shemen mitzera only if it's not brought together with the asham. It has to be brought together with the asham for it to be the like shemen to be. There should be pigul liability if one has intent to consume beyond its time. Okay, we must say that the sprinkling of the oil is not an avodah that pigul will take effect upon it, and therefore. Even according to Rebbe, that the sprinkling of the oil is a matir in every place. Nevertheless, a thought during the sprinkling of the oil does not create pigul, and therefore we can answer the Brisa as the views of Yosef, and the question will return to its place. How did the Brisa state in the Reisha the like shemen, the shemen oil of the mitzera is included in pigul, as pigul can take effect upon the like shemen, according to the view of Rabbi Meir, and in the Sefer the Brisa says no. In the Zvachim, by the libations, there's no din pigul. Like shemen is also in the Zvachim, right? Zvachim, there's no din pigul as the view of the Chachamim. Elam Rabbi Yirmiyah, La'olam Rabbi Meir. Really, the Brisa is according to Rabbi Meir, who holds that like shemen that's brought together with the asham, right? The oil libation that's brought together with the asham with the guilt offering, and the libations that are brought together with the offerings. Then the offering is the matter as a permitter for the libation, and therefore pigul will take effect. In other words, if pigul takes effect upon the offering, also take effect upon the libation. And therefore the Brisa states like shemen, there's liability of pigul, Zvachim, and take out from here the Brisa states in Zvachim. The minchas and Zvachim has no pigul. With this Brisa, we can say that one is liable for pigul also in the Zvachim. And this is a mistake of the text. There is pigul by the nisachim, by the libations. Don't efface, don't erase, don't delete what is stated in the Brisa, Zvachim. And really the Brisa stated according to the view of Rabbi Meir, the log shemen and the Zvachim that come together with the zevach, are included in pigul, the Tana. Brisa was taught log haba ima asham, log shemen that comes together with the asham. That's where there will be liability for pigul, but if it's brought separately, the libation without the offering together with it, then there won't be libation. There won't be liability for pigul, for consuming it beyond its time. Law applies to Zvachim, they come together with the Zevach, and then it teaches Zvachim, they come before themselves, but there's no pigul there. That it's not considered pigul only if it comes together with the offering, and if the offering becomes pigul, then the nesachim will also become pigul, the libation will become pigul. That's in my humble understanding. Now we carry on to a new Indian continuation of elaborating and elucidation of what we've learned in the Mishnah.